What does it look like to face so many challenges on your path to fluency and still achieve your goals in English? This is what you're going to hear in my conversation with Laura, my lovely student. Laura is a graphic designer from Barcelona, Spain, and she went from being an avoider in the language and not using it at all to using it confidently and helping others communicate confidently in English inside our communities. She's going to talk about all the mindset blocks that she faced and her fear using English. And she's also going to share how saying yes to opportunities, even though they terrified her, made a huge difference in her life and in her English. This is such an inspiring conversation, and I can't wait to get into it. So let's go ahead and listen to my conversation with Laura. Hello, Laura. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here.
I'm
Nervous,
nervous.
but I'm here.
I love that. And thank you
Yeah.
so much for doing it and for being willing to share your story with my audience and to kind of like talk about your journey.
Yeah. Thank you for having me and to allow me to express myself, to tell my story and see if it can help others too.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will because I know your story up close and I cannot wait to dive in. So before we even get started, just give us like the normal background so people can position you in the world and in terms of like who you are, what you do, and why you are on this English journey to begin with.
Yeah. So hi everyone, I'm Laura. I'm from a small city around Barcelona, Spain, and I'm a graphic and web designer. And the truth is that I don't need English for anything yet, but I always felt this need to learn the language. I was bothered about like spending so much years at school and not being able to say a word in English. That like,
Mm-hmm.
frustrated me, and that's like how I started with the journey.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that was? Like, why do you think after all the years that you've studied English in school, you were still not really able to communicate confidently in English?
Because it was only grammar, like and I felt that it wasn't for me. Like it was just all these rules that I had to understand, but I wasn't really, I was studying for the test and trying to pass them, but that's it. Like I didn't have the chance to speak, like speaking opportunities or learning the language in another level. So I think it was because of that.
Mm-hmm. So, what got you to even start exploring the idea of working on your English?
Because of that, like I feel like I always had this desire, and I don't even know why. I just started like consuming a lot of content and surrounding myself. I knew it was something important, to have.
Yeah.
Like it's something I had always there. It's true that I was working from like making a lot of projects with American brands, but I never needed to speak because I could communicate with them in Spanish, or just because it was like writing emails, and that's all.
Yeah.
So I think I saw that like, okay, in the future, maybe I need to do something about it. And I knew how I was feeling, and just this, yeah.
So, I want to talk about it a little bit because I think that there are people out there, maybe even now watching this interview, who are thinking to themselves, who feel the same, right? Like who have that desire. But then there is that voice that says, well, you don't really need it for anything, right? Like you don't live in an English speaking country. Why do you need to work on your English? Or you're not going to work in English. So what's the point? And they're trying to navigate these like practical voices, right? Like the voices of reason. Don't waste your time on something that is not going to help you, versus that desire or maybe intuition around the fact that English is going to serve them one way or another. Right. And I think that this is where you're at. So what would you say to those people who kind of like push away that passion because they don't think it's practical enough or it's needed enough?
Well, I think it's, like you never know what's going to happen in the future and what you're going to need to have. And I think it's way better to start now and to have this that having like the need to learn the language and then like rush into it. Like I feel it's better to start, to take your time to feel the language and then be prepared for anything else.
Right. I always say, like, when the opportunity comes, like, it doesn't give you a notice before, right? Like, the opportunity comes whether you're ready or not, you might as well be ready when the opportunity comes. Otherwise, you'll keep pushing it away. You'll not even see the opportunities. But when you're ready, and you're right, like, I think English is something that you never know how it's going to open doors, or what opportunities will come. And I also think that there is, like when I'm looking at you and your journey, and I've known you for quite a few years, I think that there is like that inner drive that gives you joy outside of just like the practical aspect of English, right? Because we'll later talk about mindset and about getting out of your comfort zone and about challenging yourself personally as well, you know? And I think it's all a part of our personal development journey. And I want to connect language learning to that. Like it's not separate from who you are and how you develop as a human being. Would you agree?
Yeah, totally. And I feel like, like sometimes you jump in, like, or you miss opportunities because you are not like that ready or you don't feel confident. It's what you said. You don't know when it's gonna come and you don't feel.
Yeah.
And it's true that I don't need it. I'm, like I'm looking for new opportunities and now I'm open, like to whatever it happens, I'm here. But it's true that I enjoy, like I use English daily now and I don't think about like I'm just practicing my English. It's a tool that I use to communicate with many, many people and it make my day, like every single day. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's the powerful thing to know the language and to be able to live all these experiences when it comes.
So tell us a little bit about what is different for you from, let's say, a few years ago to today, now that English practice is an essential part of your day and your life. What has changed for you? How does that look like?
Like in terms of habit, like it's
Yes, in
my
terms of
day.
habit or like how you show up in English.
Well, it changed me completely, not only in English, but also in my life. Like before just having a phone call, like it was a nightmare, like something that I had to manage or just to go to the store and ask for something. It was something that it was hard. And if I could avoid it, I just did it or not like look into the eyes of the other person, like it was
Mm.
so hard for me. I was feeling this kind of social anxiety. If
Mm.
I went to one place, I needed to know, like how to get there, how to open the door, how or what to say to the person, and everything changed. This softened with this kind of process, with the journey, and now I feel better in these small things that made sound, like silly, but for me it was like a huge thing. So it's not just English, and I'm able, what I said, I'm able to speak every single day in English, and that makes me happy.
Yeah.
But also like all the things and challenges that I'm facing, that now it's possible, and before I couldn't think about it.
So I want to talk a little bit more about that social anxiety that people who have that, regardless of the language, like where does that meet you when it comes to speaking English? Even think of the beginning, the first, you know, years of you studying English, and then how do you navigate social anxiety and speaking English as a second language? Like what makes it harder for you? Because again, like I think a lot of people who have confidence issues maybe are coming with kind of like that burden as well. And I want you to maybe share a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, I think, like I was always with this level. I carried this level of the shy, quiet, too sensitive kid, and I believe that it was, like it was something that I wasn't able to do. like, okay, there are certain things that are not for me, that are not meant for me. I can do a lot of things, but this I can.
And when you
And
say this, you mean speaking English
speaking English
or
and like
socially, or
social,
being,
like
okay, okay,
yeah,
okay.
like but
Being around people.
but in English, like especially because it was this wanting of like be able to speak, but also like thinking, yeah, but I can, like I can just show up and do what all these people is doing, like I felt that I needed, like it wasn't for me, like I just it was safe to think about this and to know, okay, this is not for me. Even I want more, but like it's what it is, and I have to accept it.
How does it make you feel like when there's that voice in your head that says this is not for you? Like I can't imagine.
Something broke in me, like inside me, like every single time, and also especially because I had this, and I don't want to say it like in a bad way, but I had these feelings. But it's true that people around me also, like if I said something about like I want to do this, like people said like, yeah, like this kind of making jokes. But like I understand the point, because I was the first that I wasn't believing in myself, but it was
So you're
hard.
saying that they supported this belief. Like if you said I want to do this, they're like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
That is what, okay. Because you've kind of like, not you, it's not your responsibility, but it's kind of like that was the assumption. So in a way you kind of like fit into that.
Or I think that's how it was showing
Yeah.
myself, and
Mm,
they could see that.
mm,
And yeah, that the thought, and then it was like, okay, they are right, like
mm,
I,
mm,
I started like overthinking everything, and it was like, maybe they are right, and I can like broke this
mm.
until I discover you, and everything changed.
What has changed and how?
Everything, like I feel like I was following all these voices, and yeah, I think we are not like explaining a lot the journey, but after going through the mindset program,
Yeah.
everything, like something shifted in me. Like I was, and I think it was the moment, because I spent a lot of years in your programs and seeing what was possible for a lot of people, and like I wonder what that couldn't be me, and when I went through the 30 days and listened to it, I realized that I had, like a lot of limiting beliefs,
Mm,
and the problem that I had, it wasn't with my voice or, like my personality or the way that I am. It was about my mindset.
uh,
And
yeah. So, like seeing you over the last few years, and I also had the honor of seeing you in person in the small group of students that we have here in Barcelona. It's been really like so rewarding for me as a coach or as a teacher to see that you are like, you came to work, right? Like you said to
yeah,
yourself, I'm not happy. Like that description that you had, you being locked in the situation where like there is this whisper, I want to do more. Like there's like I deserve this. And then it's you, right? Like the conventions, the thoughts, the parts in you that want to keep you safe, and the environment around you that knew you only as a certain person,
mhm,
right? And they kept you small. But what I admire most about your journey is that you didn't let that whisper quiet down too much. And that led you to find the content that you needed to make a change. And you made the change because you showed up and you said, like, I'm here to work and I'm here to push myself, no matter how long it takes. I look at you and I look at the first conversation that we had in person in the meetup in Barcelona and our recent interaction inside our community. Like, I think that it has been such an incredible shift in how you show up. And let's talk about it a little bit, because you and I know, and they're like, the people are watching, it's like, wait, but what happened? And what is she doing? So you came, like you started with not having the confidence to think in English. And then the first interaction with my programs, you joined, like you started being more interested in pronunciation work, right?
mhm,
Right.
yeah.
That was the first thing that drew you into this kind of work that is a little different, right? It's like not the grammar
Yeah.
vocabulary, starting with spoken English. What helped you with pronunciation work?
Oh, I think it's what I said, like I was bored about the traditional methods, like it was boring for me, but I didn't know better. I thought that I had to went through the grammar and the rules because that's what I knew. But then I came across your channel and start like watching the videos and consuming more content. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when, I realized English had sounds that Spanish don't have. Like that was the first time, and then everything started like making sense, and I wanted to know more, and I think I become passionate about it, and that's what drew me to your program and decide to jump in.
And you started with Accent Makeover, which is like the program that I initially had, and then you joined New Sound, which is
Mm-hmm.
my current program that is more holistic and has mindset integrated into it, which is where you kind of like started to dive deep
Yep.
into mindset work. So you mentioned that you realized that the problem wasn't you, which is that's always the case. Like the problem is not us and our English, it's really the way we think about it and the way we limit ourselves. What is the one, if you can kind of like, I know that you mentioned it already, but kind of like come back to for people who are struggling with mindset and limiting beliefs and you can't do it and what's the point and all of that, like all of these negative voices. Maybe name one or two things that really helped you move away from that limited mindset into a more growth, fluent mindset.
I think it was a process. It was about taking action. I feel like
Yeah. Yes.
deciding, like it's enough. Like it's what you said. I joined Accent Makeover and I went there like for 2 rounds. And then I jumped in. Like it was a long, like a lot of years when I realized, okay, you're doing things wrong, like you're putting all this effort and you're not doing the most important thing. So now you have to do it, like believe that you can do it, give it a
Yeah.
try like 6 months and see what happens, and
Mm.
allowing me to do this, to say, okay, now I'm gonna do it, and taking action and taking this small decision is what like changed everything.
Wow. I'm so happy that you said that because changing your thoughts is not going to do anything. Changing your thoughts around taking action and believing it would work, that is the change in thoughts that we need to have, but then also to take action and consistent action, which you have been taking,
Yep.
right? And like if I'm thinking also on the interview with Katya that we had not long ago, and Katya has also had an impact on your journey. So it's kind of like there is no way around it. Like change and transformation happens to people who take action. How did the program and community, because I'm a firm believer that you can do a lot of things on your own, but to really kind of like get into the habit of learning a language and speaking it, you have to have the right environment because as humans, we tend to kind of like to procrastinate. You know, if no one holds us accountable, we're probably not going to do the things that we say we're going to do. Things get in the way. So, how has the community and the structure of the programs, because you are in New Sound, you've taken New Sound in the past, which is my signature pronunciation program for those who don't know, and you're also in Beyond, which is my English practice community. So, how has that served you when you said to yourself, I need to take action and I'm willing to trust the process?
Well, it's what make it possible, like I community, it's was and is everything in my journey and for myself. It's true that I decided in that moment to join and to take action, but I truly believe that without the community, I wouldn't be where I am today. Like the time that I decided, okay, I'm gonna show up, I felt like it was in a safe space that I could be myself. And I think that's so important.
Mm.
And in every step, like I find someone that there was supporting me and rooting for me. And at the beginning, like I was, as you mentioned, I was with Katia. And I remember that like I wonder always how that many good people could be like in just in one place. Now
Mm.
I understand why. But yeah, like for me, it's like their support, their kindness, their believing in me. Like I was for months, I wasn't believing in myself, but this belief and these conversations with them, like make me start like to gain the confidence and start believing in myself, like and to be and where I'm now. And I'm grateful, it's amazing to be part of a community like this. And I don't have words to describe how grateful I feel
Yeah.
about you and the community.
Well, I'm grateful for you and for your presence because you've also been contributing so much, right? Like just by showing up for others as well, because you're doing now the same thing that, like, all the support that you've received, you are kind of like giving it back. Even now in this conversation, like, I think that a few years ago, if I were to tell you, hey, Laura, how about a conversation on YouTube? You'd be like,
I think if you would have asked that, you would say, like in 5 years, you're going to be this, you're going to be doing this thing. But without knowing the journey and everything that what happened, I would say, I don't have, it's not that important for me. I don't want to,
wow.
to
Yeah.
learn.
So two things.
But
First of all, I want to hear more about what it is that is possible for you now that wasn't possible 5 years ago. That's the first thing. I'm saying that so I don't forget. And the second thing, I just wanted to mention something interesting about what you shared regarding the community, because it's almost like you reinvented yourself as an English speaker, like in English, right? Like as someone who is capable for more because you were boxed in, like in the life and the environment that you had and what people had expected of you. And sometimes, like, it's almost like we don't want to disappoint people by actually achieving the things that we're achieving, right? Because people are like, they're saying, yeah, you can do this or you can't do this, and they have certain perceptions of you. And I'm talking about people who love us the most, right?
yep.
People like our friends and family. And it's like everyone is like, they're used to things being the way they are. No one likes the status quo to be challenged. This is why things stay the same. It's really hard for people to get out of their comfort zone. But because you created for yourself this new space where no one knew you before, and it's a new language, so it's kind of like you're saying, I'm not going to let English limit me. I'm going to let it be the aspect or the facet of my personality that dares more, that is more courageous, that speaks more, right? Like, and you've kind of like created that for yourself. Does that sound like something that...
Yeah and no, like I feel like the change was inside myself, like it was in Spanish and what in English too, like it's not about I just create this environment, or maybe it is, like having the environment and the thing to succeed, or to show myself that I was capable of more than I ever imagined. Maybe give me, like all this change in my life too. But I think,
And then and it impacted everything in your life outside of the community. That's what you're... yeah.
yeah, like everything, like I'm different, I think I'm a completely different person. And the weirdest thing is that I feel like more myself than ever. So
Ugh,
I think that's growth,
I love
But
that. When you say growth is to feel more myself than ever, to me, I hear like to get rid of the parts that were just getting in the way of you being you.
yeah, I never been, a huge fan of myself.
Mm.
But it's true that in that moment, like I was going through a tough situation, and it made me more small. And like being here, it made me change this, and all the light, I was letting the light get inside me, and I feel like that's the answer, that's the
Wow.
reason why I can grow. Like I don't differentiate like this kind of the two languages, or three. It's
Yeah.
about like myself, like
Yeah. I love that. I love that so much. And like, I really wish that for everyone watching, like, I think that this is like the biggest gift that you can give yourself, just to be closer to yourself and to recognize what's not working and to change that.
yeah.
So Laura, what is possible for you now that wasn't possible 5 years ago? What are you doing regularly now?
Well, it's basically talking, speaking English daily. That it was
Every day.
something I never thought it could happen. And enjoying it. Like I have fun, and I speak about different topics that make me like think, and it's changing me. Like I feel like that growth that I was talking about, it's also about the topics, because we are reflecting, and things that you never thought, it changed your perspective, and it's helping me a lot in this.
Mm,
Also, like like having the co-host sessions with Mary and Monico,
yeah.
and my own, like hosting by my own.
So just for context, for people who don't know, so Laura is in Beyond, our English practice community, and there we have conversation groups every single day. We have several. So when she says, I'm speaking every day, right? Like it's mainly there in the community with people from around the world.
Yep.
And she started co-hosting sessions with other hosts, because our hosts in the conversation groups are Beyond students who are seasoned, who build their confidence by hosting. And now she's also hosting her own sessions. What limiting beliefs did you have to overcome to host, not just to speak, but now I'm saying to be a leader inside this context?
I never thought, like, I never had as a goal, like, I saw these amazing people hosting sessions, but I never saw myself, like, that wasn't my goal. You know, I thought I can improve, I can be like, have better level without doing this, you know, that's not for me. But I have to talk, you know, like the change was with the meetup, the Barcelona meetup. That was like knowing that I was there face to face for the first time, you know, talking with people in English, and me being like as a shy person, you know, an introvert, and just like I decided to go just like step by step, you know, like I decided to, okay, I'm going one day, and then ended up like being two, and seeing myself there talking with so many people and having a great time. It was it changed me, something in me, and I decided that I didn't want to hide myself anymore, you know, because it's true that I was having a better time, you know, like I was more confident, I could like enjoy the conversation groups and talk in English. But when I had to talk like in the main room or with more than 5 people, I couldn't. I was froze and I couldn't do more.
Yeah.
And that changed everything, you know. And the funny thing is that I when I heard about the meetup, I said, I'm not gonna, you know,
No
like,
way.
like
Really?
I'm not doing this. Like
Just
that
for
was the first.
context, Laura ended up like, so there was this small action group of the Barcelona students, not Barcelona, Barcelona in the area, who initiated everything around the meetup. Like the day that we walked around and we had like all these different locations, and you created this beautiful game around it,
Yeah.
and activities at night, and they kind of like curated the entire experience on their own, so it was like an incredible group of women, and you were a part of it, and then to hear that you didn't even think about joining is mind-blowing to me.
I would have helped, you know, like I would do that because I felt like, yeah, I needed to be part, but I was thinking about not joining. And that's how I was acting, you know, like that was my pattern to follow, like every time that some opportunity came, I said no right away without thinking. And I miss like during my life a lot of opportunities. And then, you know, like after going through the experience and knowing that I was able to, you know, to do more, it's when I decided, okay, next time, you know, I promised myself, next time I'm not going to say no. I'm just going to think about it and then let the person know. And that's how, you know, like Mary asked me, Mary, we love
Mary,
Mary.
we love Mary, yeah.
She took me by the hand and she never,
That was a project. She was like, I'm going
yeah,
to take you with me.
and she did
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But she asked for the second time, and this time I said, okay, you know, like I'm not saying no. I just want to know more.
To
Tell me
co-host.
about it. Yeah, to
Mhm.
co-host with her. Let me explain me what you have in mind, and then I'll decide. And that's how everything changed. You know, like
Mhm.
what made me to yeah to decide to do it. I thought I wasn't ready, um,
We're
but yeah,
never ready for
yeah,
anything
never.
big and new. Never, ever.
Yeah.
So, like this is the thing, you do it before you feel ready. I want to outline the stages, right? So we have like in Beyond and in New Sound, like the way we think about the fluency journey, instead of going according to levels, we talk about the stages as a speaker, and then the beginning is an avoider, right? Which is how you started. I don't speak, right? Like before you, like avoiding, like being able to communicate, but avoiding as humanly possible every situation where you would be required to speak English. You described it, where you had to make a phone call. You were like, So from an avoider to an anxious speaker, which is someone who is already saying, okay, I'm no longer going to avoid, but it has like an emotional toll, very stressful, very nerve-wracking, overthinking, editing, right? Like that's the next stage. And then the following stage is a brave speaker. And a brave speaker already starts to manage their mind and to be like, I recognize the feelings. I don't let it be in the driver's seat. And then from there is a challenger where you start like to push yourself more and more and more, right? Which is where like the community meetup, joining more regularly and taking more action and doing all the activities. And the last stage is an influencer, which is your stage now, where it has become less about what do I get out of it and how can I use English to make an impact and to share it with others, which is where you're at. And I think being a host in Beyond and and everything that you do in New Sound as well, where you show up for everyone. Like, I think it's also a mindset shift from moving away from the spotlight being on me than it being on others. So I want you to talk a little bit about, again, this entire conversation is about this journey, but about the influencer part, about making an impact. What has that changed for you?
Everything. Because as I said, I never thought, like I never considered it, and it's what you said, like I feel it's not that I'm not nervous, like I have the same, feel anxious sometimes, and the experience of hosting, it was like I felt all the emotions like in all the process. But it's true that I don't allow myself to stop from, like I don't let myself to not do things because of that. And when I understood, like, okay, I'm here, I'm doing this, and it's a way to give up, to not give up.
Not to give up.
Not to give up.
To give. Yeah.
No, but to give all the support that I had to other people, and to create these spaces where we can share and practice together, and make the connection. And I feel like that opened like everything else, like now I feel more confident in the way that I face challenges. No, I feel like today saying yes to this, it was because of that, because now
Yeah.
I don't overthink. I know that I'm gonna do it. Like I'm gonna be nervous, but I can handle it, and I truly believe and trust myself and my English that I can accomplish it. And I feel like that's the everything that it's bring me, like to be part of the community, to create those spaces, but also like keep growing and understand what it's changing.
Yeah. So if I kind of like put it in again, like this entire transition from an avoider to an influencer, first of all, recognizing the need, right? Like I have a passion, I want to be ready, right? Like, so you recognize the need. Then you started taking action, right? Through pronunciation work and spoken, which gets you to feel the language and to see the language from a different perspective, right? So it's kind of like taking regular action of pronunciation work and speaking regularly. And then being like doing the mindset work to understand the shifts that you need to make to be able to stay consistent with your practice, but also to battle with the demons that tell you you're not good enough, your English is not good enough, you should be quiet, this is not for you, right? So that is the mindset work. And finally, being in an environment that constantly challenges you to take action, to show up, to be supported, right? Like you use the metaphor of light, like they got that light into you so that they see the best in you and they make you feel that, and then you do the same for others, which is the beauty of the community.
Yeah.
Tell us about the vocabulary journal.
Well, that was a challenge too. Just to explain what it is, it's a journal where you can write vocabulary, to start learning new vocabulary, and you write the definition, the IPA, the sentences, and then you create your own, and there's also like a space to take notes. Because it's true that since school, And when I was trying to learn with the traditional methods, like I never opened a grammar book or a vocabulary. And I felt like I had this gap and I had to work on it. And the thing is that I'm a perfectionist, and I always spend a lot of time just creating the templates to everything had to be perfect. And I was more like looking to the margins and like all had to be perfect and then spend more time doing this than learning the. So I had the idea just to create this book where I can just open it and like sit down, work on the vocabulary and do the next thing. And it was important because I feel like for a long time I was just doing the same, like I had a lot of ideas, but I always needed to share it with someone looking for validation or just permission. I don't know. But and most of the time I ended up like not doing anything, and this time I thought, I think it's a good idea. I think it could be helpful, not only for me, but for others. And I just did it. I designed it and I didn't show it to anyone until, it was a product. And then it's when I show it, to Maddie, and magic happened. But yeah.
Magic did happen. So I have it and we'll show it right here. So first of all, for like just to kind of like clarify, it's a really a plan to learn vocabulary. It's beautifully designed, so people who like it to be inspiring as well, and not to use like a random notebook that you kind of like forget what you need to write. So it really guides you on how to learn vocabulary in an effective way, where you write the word, the definition, example sentences, transcript of how you pronounce it. And I love it so much because it really combines, first of all, it's a project that you had to, again, it's that whisper. It wasn't easy, but you listened to it and you executed it, right? Like, which is huge. Like any creative project, like I know what it takes to put it out into the world. Like you have to deal with it, like whatever, is it like worth it, and the judgment,
Yep.
and what's the point, and the time invested, and all of that. Like, so you managed all of that, which is proof for the incredible transformation that you've been through. But also, like, it's really a combination of your creative passion, which is graphic design, right? Like, and like having something that is like so well packaged, and then connecting it with your other passion, which is learning English, which is another thing why I love this so much. And I have a copy, and a lot of students from our community have a
Yep.
copy, and you guys can get a copy. We're going to put a link to it in the description. So if you want, like, I really recommend it because it really keeps you motivated on learning vocabulary in a healthy way, right? Not just like the old school traditional lists of words. What
Yep.
surprised you about this project and making it happen and come to life?
I think people, like the acceptance. First of all, like Mary, like that. What I was talking.
Mary is another community member.
Yeah.
She was also very active in our Barcelona meetup, and this is how you initially met, right? Like the
Yeah.
first connection
Hmm.
that,
Yep.
like beautiful, incredible, inspiring woman. We keep referring to her because she's a big part of this. And she
Yeah.
told you, do it, do it, do it. You have to do it.
Yeah, no, because it's true that I had, like I wasn't letting anyone to know, like, and I was focused on do it, and it's what I wanted, but it's true that at the end I had like some, as I said, I'm a perfectionist, and I have other things in mind, and I was worried about the quality, and she was what she said, I needed this extra push, and she was who showed it to all of you, and yeah, like this amazing power of the community that you uploaded the video and everyone reacted, and I wasn't expecting that, and I knew how was the community and how amazing they were, but I wasn't expecting that, and not feeling it's what we were talking, like I'm a graphic designer, and a lot of time I was like worrying about this, like showing my things, my work, and worried about judgment, and being free for the first time to don't feel this, like knowing that okay, people like it, they are using it, it's being like helpful for a lot of people. It was like the biggest thing, the biggest win for me.
Amazing. That's a huge win, I think. And it's a huge win for us because I think it's again, like you created it for yourself to begin with, right? Like this is something that I want, it doesn't exist. And then when you do that, then this is where people relate to it the most. It's not just another product or just another journal. So I absolutely love it. And again, we're going to show it and link it so that people, whoever feels that this speaks to them, I think it would be a beautiful
Thank you.
gift for themselves. All right. So as we wrap up, for people who are now where you were before you started your journey with us and with Accent Makeover and New Sound and then beyond and the community, and they're not sure. Maybe they've tried other things before. Maybe they feel stuck. Maybe they feel like it's not going to work for them. What would you tell them?
Try it, like you don't have anything to lose, like I feel like it's important to take this first action, like if you see or you heard something that you think it's going to be positive for you, just try it. Don't wait until you feel ready, because the truth is that we always want something else. We want to learn something new, or we want to gain more confidence, or like, and that moment may never come, and I feel like it's about taking the action, the moment, a small step every time, and just trust the process, because it's not like like overnight. Doesn't happen. You need
No.
time, and you need to put the work, but you don't have anything to lose. Just try it, and you'll see, like especially in the community, you'll see what amazing community is, and how you're gonna feel. And what I always say, like I'm not special. Like if I could make it possible for me, you can do it too. It's about that, believing that it's possible, and doing it.
I love that. And I agree 1,000,000,000%. And I want to say a huge thank you for being a part of our community, for letting me be a part of your journey, for all the validation that I got from you about what's working, and mostly about what's working and even sometimes what's not. But like, like this is so important for me as a teacher and a coach, like to always hear from my students and to remember that I am on the right path. And you always took the time to tell me, to share with me your progress and to share with me the impact that this work has had. And just so you know, like nothing inspires me more to continue and to kind of like do this than hearing this and to seeing the outcome of your experience. So I admire you so much. I love you. I really do love you. I love hanging out with you and the gang. And thank you for being a part of my life and the community. And thank you for now sharing your story with our audience.
Thank you, for letting me become or turn myself again, to make possible this amazing change in my life. And thank you for the community, for the team, and for all the people who was there by my side helping me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So let's keep going and make more magic happen.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you.